Well. Monty,
Hello, mate. How you doing?
a little bit hungover today, so have not got
Good on ya. Good on
the
ya. What you get up to?
I went out with Ben from the podcast
Oh, you beauty.
and another mate Dave of ours. So yeah, there you go.
Well, that sounds great. I wish I was there to experience it, but alas, I am a billion miles away in sunny Canada.
Yeah, so anyone who listens to this, there's probably some won't know why you suddenly aren't around.
Well, I moved all the way from Sydney, Australia to beautiful Edmonton, Canada. Um, it was a long, drawn out process, and here I am.
And why would one do that?
Because I married a lovely girl from this fine city, and we decided it was time for a change.
Are you Canadian now? You consider yourself Canadian?
Oh God, no, I don't. I consider myself an Australian living in Canada. I am a permanent resident only of recently, so congrats to me. But
Well,
no, I can't. I can't vote. I can't do any of that.
oh, okay.
Nor do I want to.
Well, would you know what you're voting for if you did?
Would not. They have a swarthy kind of apparently liar of a prime minister. He seems all right to me, but a lot of the people here don't seem to enjoy him so much.
Hmm.
How about this one? How about this one, mate? You move to the other side of the world to a place of ice and snow, and this bloody week, 2 weeks ago, there's snow on the ground. This week, the whole province is on fire. It's like Sydney all over again. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Well,
we laugh, but it's pretty
co-
scary. I've been getting like warnings on my phone all day and stuff.
yeah, we laugh, but we're all fucked. It's climate change, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah, it sure is. It's good to be, and one thing the listeners should know is, if they did listen before, we used to record in a car, and guess where I am? I'm in a car.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm,
might
dr-
call these because we plan for you to pop up when you're able to.
yeah,
Um, might call these the RCPs, the random car pods.
I love it. I will set the scene. I'm driving home from work on a Saturday evening along the Yellowhead Highway. Um, I don't think that's racist, but I don't know. It seems a little weird to me. But and here's how we can transition to our normal chatter. I am racing home as tonight is game two in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers of the town I'm from play against the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
All right. Well, tell us a bit about that and don't be skimpy with the detail.
Because everyone wants to hear all about the hockey playoffs.
Well,
Um,
more so that I have no idea, so I can't add anything too much myself.
I see what you mean. We have looked a good team. There is a the shadows of the past loom large in this city of a one Wayne Gretzky, who even your casual hockey fans probably heard of. Won 4 or 5 titles here back in the 80s, and they have had no success since. Last 2 years, we have been back to glory, but not got that final push. And
Mm.
we're looking good in these playoffs. We are, however, down 1-0 in the series against Vegas, and it's the second round. There are two more rounds to go following this if we were to be successful.
I see. And you've obviously been a hockey fan for a long time, not just since you turned up on the shores, right?
Yeah.
What,
Pretty much since I got together with the now wife. Yeah.
oh, okay. Are you surprised or disappointed that hockey's not bigger in Australia?
No, fuck no. It's a
Which
weird
one?
game. I understand hockey.
No. Which one? Are you surprised or just not surprised or not disappointed?
uh, Not surprised and not disappointed.
Oh, okay.
I think it's we're a country without much ice, so it's not surprising that we're not into it.
Yeah, but we love a biff though. Like,
We do love a bit. That is a very good point. It is very Australian in its quickness to the fist. There is a lot of punch-ons that are almost game sanctioned. So that's something that we would get into, I think.
Have you?
Um,
Speaking of that,
but I
like, are
yeah.
you keeping up with much Aussie sport?
So I'm trying to keep up as much as possible.
Did you see the referee get ussed in that football match in Sydney?
I did. I saw him get ussed quite good, and I'm still in a group chat with my local football team that I played for
Yeah.
in Sydney, and they had to do a guard of honor for the refs this
Yes.
weekend,
Yes.
which everyone was a little perturbed about.
Really?
Like,
They didn't want
come on, man. Oh yeah, no, they're happy to do it, but they were like, we didn't punch anyone.
to.
Like, come on. Like, but yeah, I know refs cop it. Yeah,
Quite
especially at
literally.
that level of football. Yeah, yeah, that's good. I thought you were going to go a different direction. I heard Ivan Cleary got punched in the face in the mush last night.
What?
Yeah, I heard one of the Kiwis punched the Cleary man in the mush.
Oh, do you mean Nathan?
Yeah,
Oh, right. You said Ivan.
not Ivan. That would have been great. I did. I didn't mean it. And also, back on the soccer thing, I hear that fracas in the bowels of the stadium following the Sydney FC v Western Wanderers game.
Well, I didn't even hear about that either, and I'm here.
Wow, there you go.
All I know about A-League is that the Mariners are doing well, and I'm happy with that level of information because that just puts a smile on my face. I don't need to know anymore.
Well, so I didn't know that. I only knew about the punching, had no idea about the table, and that's all the information I need. Fine with that.
So, all right. Well, you tell me about Australian sport, mate. What happened with there was a fight in the dressing rooms, was it?
No, no. Well, in A League, yeah. It appears as if it got quite narky on the pitch, and then they went to a bunch of the Wanderers. Apparently, went to the dressing room and then pulled out one fella, and it kicked off.
Oh, okay.
These are pretty cursory glance over an article details, so don't take it for gospel.
All right. Well, the way you described it there suggests that a bunch of Wanderers players walked into the opposition's dressing room, pulled one player out while everyone else was watching, and then just beat him up.
Let's go with that. I think it's great.
Right.
I think that paints quite the picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. How is soccer popular in Australia at the moment following the World Cup? I can't see from here.
Oh, no, everyone's forgotten about it. Oh, okay.
Same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's upsetting. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to bring something up. I was listening to the most recent episode of What's the Go with you and the other boys.
Yeah.
And you were talking Union v League.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a stance
um,
on that from the other side of the world? Do you?
Well, it dawned on me that we have been missing a trick as Australians, which would be a yearly origin-style three-game playoff.
Mm.
The Wallabies v Kangaroos. First game Union, second game League, third game, this is where my nuance comes in. When the Kangaroos have the ball, it's rugby league rules. When the Wallabies have the ball, it's Union rules.
All right. Well, so what does that mean that every time the possession changes hands, you've got two players from each team running on and running off to make it 13?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Right.
You have two guys waiting there. They're kind of emergency players, and they run on, run off, depending on the possession.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, you would the way you would space it, they would be wingers or second wingers, and you'd have one on either side of the pitch.
Now, like, I'm aware that you're bringing that up in a amusing fashion, but you know that they have talked about this stuff kind of regularly, right? Having some sort of hybrid game.
No, I did not know that. No.
Yeah.
So as a kind of ongoing competition or just a one-off or like the combined rules, the combined rules, the Gaelic football versus AFL?
I don't know.
That kind of vibe?
I don't know what the end game is. It feels to me like the end game is just to get one side or the other to finally shut the fuck up. I don't know that there's I assume there'd be a monetary goal to be achieved out of it, but It does.
I'd pay to watch my combined one. That'd be great.
Yeah, having said that, I think there would be some agreement on the rules and stick with them throughout the duration of the match. I don't know they would flick from code to code in match.
Well, I prefer my code to code in match and one match of either code as well.
Yeah, I suppose your flankers would be pretty fresh because they'd be on and off the field.
Right?
Like,
Imagine you got like a Sammy Radradra out there. I suppose he's not Australian, but you got a young, fit, very fast man out there, and he's only playing a quarter of the time, really, and he'd be looking good.
um, it's not the worst thing in the world. I just don't. I just think that would probably mean we would hear more from Volandis and McLennan rather than less, which I think is everyone else's end game, apart from those two fellas, just to hear a bit less from them.
Does McLennan like seriously think that Union has any competition in Australia for league these days? Because surely John Eales ain't walking through that door in that famous saying. Like
I don't.
Union's almost dead, isn't it, in Australia?
Yes, but I think.
Yeah.
But he knows. Like, I don't know what he seriously thinks at home behind closed doors, but he knows that whenever he mouths off, it turns up in the paper the next day. So
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's true. Hey, speaking of which, you're going to come meet me in Vegas next year to watch some league?
oh, how good that would be.
Yeah.
Good.
Come on down, mate. It's a quick 2-hour flight for me.
Yep.
I'm going to go. Oh, I'm definitely going to go.
Oh, yeah. Don't care who's playing.
I don't care. I'll wear my Tigers jersey and feel shit no matter what. So, no matter.
Well, you and
Hey, we got a win last week.
yes, you sure did. Bizarrely, I
Yeah.
I was saying to some other people, like, I saw the score and didn't understand how it happened, and then tried to watch the
Yeah.
KO mini and
Yeah.
still don't understand what happened. It didn't actually. There wasn't the KO mini didn't capture the narrative.
Well, that's sad because I was going to ask you to explain it to me because I have done a similar thing
Uh,
and can't work it
I
out.
have no idea. I just assume that. Well, I'm told that luck finally started going the Tigers' way in those 50-50 calls, and
Well, it's been a while.
they just played better wet weather footy, and that's about it.
All right. Well, good to hear. Do you think it is a turnaround or is it a flash in the pan?
Well, I think once you realize you can win
Yep.
when you haven't,
Changes things. Yep. Good point.
you go, oh, all this training is for a purpose. And so, yeah, look, they got the Dragons today as we record.
Yep.
And they're not the best. It would seem that
Yeah.
the merger clubs are just
Yeah.
like awful. It's
Yeah.
is it time?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, we've got this overhang of the Super League war from 20 plus years ago now with these merger clubs.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and then you look at Redcliffe and
Mate.
don't merge, just create a new club.
I can't. I'm devastated. They beat my Sharks up last night.
Yeah,
Those Dolphins.
beat them up good. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I was speaking to the old man about the Tigers, and had the idea we're going to have an amazing second half of the season, fight back to get to ninth place. It's the writing's on the wall. We're going to look brilliant, win the last 10, and lose on the last day by 50 to Canberra.
Well, your head office is still doing everything in its power to fight against that. Did you see that?
Yeah, wow.
That you recruited a head of football during the week that no one decided to tell the coaches about.
It's just a fucking mess, isn't it? It's got to be up there for one of the worst run like franchises in the world.
But it's also
surely.
It's very clear to everyone else that they make mistakes and the mistakes get pointed out in media, but then nothing changes and no lessons are ever learned. That's the business. That, like, people make mistakes, and some people are better at running businesses than other people. But if you see your mistakes in media articles every time you make them and people were laughing at them, even the worst businessman can take some lessons out of that, right?
Hey, maybe I should change the way I'm going about stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But yet it's been, 15 years. And even back then, I don't think we were an incredibly well-run club.
So as
Yeah,
a Tiger supporter, are you what
yeah.
would you be upset if a demerger happened? Or I suppose it would probably mean that, with all due respect, that Balmain would go back to New South Wales Cup and maybe the Magpies would try and be in
I,
the NRL.
you've asked a bigger question. Well, I'll give a bigger answer. I think a demerger would be fine if if we weren't left with the people who run the club now. But uh, but have still I prosecute the concept of a tiered NRL
Yeah,
system with relegation and promotion.
yeah, I like that in theory. I just, like most things, I don't see how the NRL would make it
Yeah.
work.
Wouldn't it be good to see, Newtown get back into the NRL, but
Yes,
then go out the next year having lost every game, or like,
Norths.
yeah, North, yeah, there you go. Like, there's some, the Fruiter is still around, like, like
Yeah,
some of those smaller clubs. It'd be great if they had the opportunity to, because that's what I like about it. It brings me to another point. My beloved Southampton football team are all but sealed their fate of going down to Championship football,
right.
and it's somewhat humbling and kind of honest. You feel like, well, we didn't perform, so we are being punished accordingly. And I think that should be the case in the NRL as well. I think it'd make for a more competitive first and more watchable and fun, interesting second division.
How would salary caps work, though? I guess is my main issue.
Uh, uh, I think I think if you really wanted to blow it up, you'd have to do it English Premier League style and take away the salary cap.
Wow.
Yeah, it would change things, but you get the Saudis buy, say, the Glebe Fruiterers, and just start buying all of McLennan's best union talent
Yeah.
with their billions of dollars, and you have a front line of like Digby Owane and like some good union players,
Well,
and you buy your way back to the first grade.
yeah. When the Russian oligarchs are allowed to have assets again, they'll be looking for somewhere to put that money.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, and what Russian oligarch doesn't want to own, the North Sydney Bears? Like, I think that's a great one.
Well, Bears, Russia.
There
There's a
you go. The
connection
fit, it's just like a glove, mate. Yeah, it's perfect. Um, yeah. So you got any other sporting news from Australia I may have missed?
Or, well, if it's occurred to me, then I've said it in the previous episodes of the podcast.
Yeah,
I was going to say to you, like while you're talking about the Premier League there,
yeah,
Brighton Seagulls.
yeah. The Seagulls.
Thoughts? I
Great
didn't
team
know
name.
I didn't know much about them, and then I read an article just before we came on here that they might snag a spot in UEFA next year.
Yeah, they're looking really good this year. They've looked kind of like they were about to do the business for a few years. There was a bit of a connection. They used to have Australia's most villainous looking football player, Aaron Moy, playing for them.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, he's a real villain looking fella. No, I like him. And great name. And Brighton's a, fun place. It's the best beach in England, which is, the tastiest Brussels sprout, but like it's a beach. So, good for them. There
I
was an
think
interesting one. Yeah, go on.
I'm. I thought I had Brussels sprout in the middle there, which didn't seem, due to my, slight haziness, didn't seem to fit with the words around it. Why did you say Brussels sprout?
I said Brighton is the best beach in England, like the tastiest Brussels sprout, indicating that all the beaches are shit and even the best one is shit.
Ah, okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah. Um, there was a scoregami almost last year. Are you familiar with scoregami?
Scoregami.
Scoregami. It's when there's a score in a professional league, EPL, NFL, NRL, that has never happened before.
Right.
Yeah, and so there was a scoregami of names last year in the Premier League when Brentford played against Watford, I want to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Watford, where it was the first time two teams named after insects had ever played each other in the top flight. Yeah, the bees versus the hornets.
Okay. Again, hazy brain. I like this concept, but why is it named after folding paper?
It is. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you on that one. Scoregami's it's a website, football scoregami, and it's like
Oh, I see.
about scores that have never happened before. So this was just something unplay related that had never happened before.
So would you
I don't know
describe,
why it's named after a gun. Yeah.
so
Don't
would you
know.
describe when Sweden's playing Denmark at home
Yeah.
and it has the Swee and then the Den
Oh wow,
to
that's a good one.
form the word Sweden, would that rate a mention on that website?
That's great. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Are there any other duo countries that could do that?
Yeah, I'm going to need time with that fella.
Yeah, especially with the hangover. Um, yeah. You need six-letter countries, I suppose.
Mm,
Uh, Japan versus Andorra, you'd get it pretty close.
yes.
Japan, um, close enough. Um,
I'll tell you
oh,
what. I would love to. I would love to see a Japan v Andorra match.
wonder if it's ever happened. I wonder if Andorra's ever played Japan.
Oh, there you
Yeah, that'd
go.
be interesting. Yeah, maybe they're rivals. Maybe we don't know about their searing hatred for one another on the football pitch. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Well, what I would probably suggest to you is that because I'm having trouble keeping up with a sport podcast conversation. So imagine if this was any other kind of show.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
if you've been out in the beers, don't get home and start drinking honey whiskey. That would be my recommendation.
Ooh, good on you, mate. Were you on your own drinking the honey whiskey?
Yeah.
Good on you. Was there any? Were you watching anything or sitting in the dark?
Just faffing about.
Sounds all
Um,
right.
I wasn't there for hours, kind of, going over all my regrets in life. I was just, wasn't quite ready for bed.
I like the sound of that. Um, I am nearing my home, but there was one last thing I wanted to bring up, which is
Yeah,
the
please.
the Kentucky Derby. I would say Derby, but they say Derby over here, right?
All
It's
right.
the American horse race. It's on tomorrow. And I just don't like that in all of this talk of the Kentucky Derby, they don't mention that the Melbourne Cup is better.
What's in it for them to do that?
Well, they say, well, these horses have run in big races like at Royal Ascot or in the UAE. The Melbourne Cup doesn't get a look in,
Um,
nor the Everest. So, yeah,
what?
that upsets
No,
me.
no, no Grafton. No mention of Grafton.
No, no Grafton, no Echuca, no, 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 Wentworth dogs, nothing. It's sad.
Yeah, I suppose that's elitism, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is. And America's desire to be first. Yeah.
It's easy to forget us down here, down under, isn't it? Isn't it,
Not for
Monty?
me. Not for me, mate. Not for me.
Mm.
Um, so you got a score prediction for tonight's Oilers game?
Uh, Oilers 13 plus.
Yeah, it's got a good money for the 13 plus. Weird one happened in the hockey last week. The Oilers game and the game before it, the Dallas Stars game. For the first time ever, a guy scored 4 goals in a playoff game, and both
Mm.
teams lost. So 2 games in a row, guy scored 4 goals, and both of his teams lost. Well, two guys' teams.
I suppose
Don't know
there's
where to.
something to. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, don't know where to go with that. Well, look,
Well,
it's been a slice, but I'm turning onto my home street now.
yeah. All right, Monty. I'm not going to speak on behalf of listeners, but it's good to hear from you. Like they can, I suppose, make their own indication one way or the other that way.
Yeah,
But
I think you'd face litigation saying that for them. Yeah.
all right, well, yeah, you let me know when you're available to do more, and we'll have the old car pods.
I love it, mate. A bit of car pod action. Great to speak to you, Stu, and I'm looking forward to doing it again soon.
Bye, Monty, and bye, everybody. This is an Angry Chimp podcast.
Hello, my name is Piers Grove, and I'm a founder, publisher, and managing director. In March 2022, I'd just been named Managing Director of Australian Geographic and set up Scout Publishing. Then everything changed. 404 Brain Not Found, the podcast for stroke survivors and their friends and colleagues. We explore the absurd experience and frustrating journey of stroke recovery. 404 Brain Not Found, a general experiments podcast on all podcast streamers.
My name's Stu.
I'm Rachel.
And we are fans.
Obsessives might be the word.
Of the 90s. The 90s. The 90s. The 90s.
You can follow the podcast on your favourite podcast app. Rachel, what's the name of the show?
Swinging on the flippity flop.
Why the 90s?
We lived it.
We lived it. We were it.
Was it the best decade ever or the lamest? Let's find out.
Flippity flop.